Ooh, what's good, Commanders fans? I'm not going to spend too much time. Well, I say this all the time, but I'm not going to spend too much time on a Terry McLaurin presser. It was 30 minutes, though, and it did go on for a while. It did. So this was after he did the shoot for the Eastern Motors commercial, the legendary Eastern Motors commercial. So he did show up for that, but he did not show up for the jersey release, the alternate jersey release, or I don't know, but of course, he wasn't going to show up to a team activity, but he did show up to the Eastern Motors commercial, and he was the only player there. Typically they do like three guys. I remember back in the day they did like Clinton Portis and Santana, and I think Chris Cooley or whoever, Jason Campbell would be in the commercial. It would be like three different players at the same time. It was never really just one guy. It was always like two or three at the same time. But let's get to the press conference. So Terry is just he's such a professional. Even in this situation, he's such a professional. He really is. He just sounds like a politician. He really does. He sounds like he should be in a front office or in the government or the White House. Like, that's just how he talks. He just sounds so professional. But you can tell that he is hurt. Almost sounds like he's emotionally hurt for sure in this situation. Now, he did say that they have not talked for a month. Him and the front office have not talked for a month, which is not good at all. It's not good. They got to have some type of communication. I know him and Dan Quinn have been talking, but for them not to talk for a whole month, it's not good. And I understand. I know how Adam Peters is. He did come from John Lynch and the Niners, and we've seen how they do things. We saw how they handle the contract with Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, also Brandon Ayuk. Now, Adam Peters was here when the Brandon Ayuk thing happened, but still, he came from that front office, and that's just how they handle things. They take their time, it sounds like. They stand on what they believe in, if they really believe your value. Now, at the end of the day, Brandon Ayuk kind of won that tussle there because he got $30 million, which is more than what I thought Brandon Ayuk deserved. And then Deebo Samuel got his bag, and then we just traded for Deebo Samuel. And he got a guaranteed contract this year or something like that. So Laramie Tunsil as well. Don't forget about him. He made an Instagram post talking about he wants to get an extension, but it hasn't really gotten to this point of a holdout. But Terry's definitely frustrated. So he goes on to say, quote, "I've been pretty frustrated. I'm not going to lie. Everything that has transpired up until this point has been disappointing and frustrating. I wanted to continue my career in Washington. I've created my life here, my wife, and I've brought our first home here. This has been somewhere I've always wanted to be." He also says, "It's not because of me just feeling that, but I've proven it, and I'm going to continue to work hard." So I like what he talked about the age. Somebody asked him about the age. Now, he has been in contact with Jaden Daniels, some of the other players. Jeremy Reeves did tweet a tweet about Terry McLaurin saying that he's got his back. Terry said the other players have his back and stuff like this in this situation. I still am very optimistic that, I'll say optimistic that he gets a deal, that we get a deal done. The Garrett Wilson deal, they did ask him about that. He told about that. He said, "Congrats to Garrett Wilson. He's another Ohio State guy. That he deserves everything that he gets and whatnot and stuff like that." Now, this is what Terry had to say about his age, is that, he talked about the contested catch rate at the catch point, that his game still has the same speed, the 4.3 40-yard dash speed. And that his game is, in my opinion, it's a game where you can age well. The style of play, his style of play is not predicated on just being a speed demon, like he's Deshaun Jackson or something like that, or Tyreek Hill. His game is a contested catch game. It's a toughness game, going over the middle, making tough catches, getting open. And he does still beat you down the field, but I think his game is a game that can definitely be the way he plays. He can be good for the next 3 or 4 years and be fine, especially with a really, really good quarterback in Jaden Daniels. And he also brought up, he even went back to Ohio State. He was like, when he first got to Ohio State, he didn't play much, so he doesn't have a lot of tread on the tires. That he has not been injured. He has not had a major surgery as well. So this was basically him selling himself and just talking to the media. This was a PR press conference. It wasn't like a Terrell Owens, "I'm going to sit out in front of my lawn and lift weights." But this basically was a PR selling press conference. His agent was there. It sounded like his agent was wheeling and dealing. That's what JP Finley tweeted out, that he was on the phone a lot. And shout out to Art Monk. His jersey got retired today, so everybody was hoping that Terry would get signed on the day that Art Monk had his jersey retired, but that's not the case. So we had basically the complete opposite with Terry having a presser. And then Terry brought up something about him not missing a bunch. So the last, excuse me, 1, 2, 3, 4. The last 4 seasons, he has not missed a game. He's played his 17 games the last 4 seasons. That's a big thing, too. And he was just all-pro last year. He was second-team all-pro. So he has a lot of things in his favor, man. He had 13 touchdowns, led the team in touchdown and receiving touchdowns, and then also broke the franchise record for receiving touchdowns as well. And then he showed up in the playoffs. And then he showed up. He was like him and Jaden. It was a slow start, but they got hot towards the end, too. So he was just making points of basically selling himself out there. He said, yeah, I do want to play here and continue to be a part of what is being built, but you also want to feel valued by ownership. I think there's a disconnect between the value I bring to the table and how it applies to the market. So there's definitely a discrepancy. So once again, I don't want to comment too much because we don't know what this discrepancy is. Does he want 36 or 37 like Lake Lewis said, or possibly aiming for that? Or is he asking for 33, or is he asking for 30, for 32? Like, what is he asking for? Is it the guarantees? Is it the years? Of course, he didn't go into detail about that, but he did voice his frustration. And the only thing that I really don't like is just the communication. I just feel like the communication has to be better. That Adam Peters should reach out to his, other than Jaden Daniels, your best player. Like, let's just be real. He's the best player on the team other than Jaden Daniels. You know, he's been here for years doing it with terrible quarterbacks. He talked about that too, through turmoil and the good and the bad, all the bad, crazy stuff that happened with the previous ownership and stuff like that. He talked about he's been through that as well. And I get it. The contracts it's not about what you did 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It's about what they think you're going to do the next 2 or 3 years. So I understand that. But you talk about culture and what Terry has done for the past 5, 6 seasons. I mean, he's the definition of a commander for sure. So they asked him about training camp, and he said he'll he's going to take it day by day. But I would assume that he would do a hold-in. If he doesn't go to training camp, I think he'll do a hold-in just like Jamar Chase did. Jamar Chase did that. Brandon Ayuk did that too, where he did a hold-in where he showed up. And Terry did that a couple years ago too, where he went to minicamp. He did a hold-in where he didn't participate in practice, but he was there. And, of course, you can't forget that he's still under contract. So, I mean, if you want to play hardball, they really could. Adam Peters could really play hardball and have him play through this year. You don't want to piss a guy like this off, though. That's not the smart thing to do. They do need to get a contract done, an extension done. Like I said, I would do a 3-year, $33 million per year, so that's $99 million per year. I think that's pretty fair. I think he's better than DK Metcalf. So I think he deserves more than that, more than what DK got. DK got like 32 mil or something like that. All right, so let me see if there's any other quotes here that really stood out for the most part. Yeah, he said, I'm not perfect at all. I've definitely made mistakes, but I've always led with the right foot. And I've tried to put myself in a position to be a person that can be valued and respected amongst his coaches and his teammates, but also a dog on the field. I don't want that to get mistaken, and I feel like I'm one of the best receivers in the league. And yeah, he is. He definitely is. He's a top 10 receiver in this league, man. And you saw what he did when he finally got a quarterback and what he did. Oh, he did talk about OTAs. Like, everything was going well, and everybody was, getting along well, whatever. And then, just the talk stalled, and I guess he just didn't show up anymore. We saw that. Yeah, I mean, that's my major takeaways, is that it's a business. So Terry does have to posture. His agent has to posture. They both have to play hardball. And that's what they just have to do. But I do feel like, a player of his caliber definitely should be rewarded. And he should at least be in contact. They should at least be in contact. There should not be a month that goes by where you have not been in contact. Like, I think that's ridiculous. I think I put that on Adam Peters in the front office. He has not talked to ownership either. He texted Mr. Rails a little bit. He did say that. And then also, remember, everybody's talking about Magic Johnson being in Italy and Terry being in Italy. He didn't bring up Magic Johnson at all. As we know, Magic is not the negotiator of the deal. He's one of the owners, and Magic's just a good guy to have in because he's super duper popular. So Terry also said, and that's the thing, before I took a step back at OTAs, things were going great on the field. The connection in the office was amazing. So to see where it was then and where it's at now is definitely disappointing. So I don't know what happens next, but without any progressive discussion, it's kind of hard to see how I step on the field. So that's basically about training camp and what's going on right now. And we know the rookies report on July 18th, which is Friday, and then July 22nd is the first day of training camp competition. So Yeah, I mean, it's crazy what's going on right now, but I mean, it's stuff that we've seen before. We saw with CD Lamb last year, like I said, Jamar Chase. We've seen it with many receivers and many offensive players go through this negotiation thing. Brandon Ayuk, like I brought up as well, but you hate to see a guy like Terry McLaurin, who has been Mr. Commander, just a great guy on and off the field. Then he went and he signed autographs after his press conference as well. So you just want to see one of your best players get rewarded, man. That's just what you want to see, and somebody who's definitely earned it. So, but I do like how he went after that 30-year-old, because I agree with him too, man. Like, I'm not really been on the whole 30 years old thing, like especially for him. Like I said, his style of play, I think he's fine. I think we're fine paying him a 3-year deal at the age of 30. Like, I'm not tripping over him being 32. I think he'll be fine with Jaden Daniels as his quarterback and just the way that he plays. He talked about the Eagles game where he had the catch and he ran it in for a touchdown as well in that game too. So, I don't see any signs of regression. That's the big thing too about the whole 30 years old thing. So he also said it's crunch time when training camp starting next week. And I already talked about that as well. So that's really it, guys, for the most part that I see. He says, I do want to play here and continue to be a part of what is being built, but you also want to feel valued. I talked about that earlier. He's been frustrated. So what Jordan Schultz did report is true. It's true that he's frustrated and they haven't really made any progression at all. So what Jordan Schultz reported was true for sure. And he did hear that from Terry McLaurin's agent. So, all right, guys. You guys let me know what you guys think. As always, I mean, he did in the press conference in good spirits talking about Italy. I think he did have on Commander's shorts on today. I think he did on the he was signing Commander's jerseys. I did see that looking at one picture, but I think the shorts that he was wearing were Commander's shorts. They might have been Eastern Motors shorts, but so. He talked with Jaden Daniels. He said it's important to have his support. I know what I bring to the table, and he does too. Talking about Jaden Daniels, and they've been in contact, so that's good to hear. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Oh, shout out to Frankie Louvu for making top 5 off-ball linebackers. He definitely is that, and he is very well deserved to have a couple players already in the top 5 of their position. I think Frankie Louvu should be a top 100 player. I don't think they've named him a top 100 player. Laremy Tunsil came in at 86, and they may not name him a top 100 player. I know Bobby Wagner should be a top 100 player. So that's what I'm waiting on. And of course, we're waiting on Jaden. We're still waiting on Terry too. So we have a couple guys that are in the top 100. So, all right, you guys. You guys let me know what you guys think. So like I said, the major takeaway is that it did not sound great today. It did not sound good. They have a couple days. This may drag out into training camp. And a negative thing that I will say is that, typically when players hold out into training camp or hold in, they typically have slow starts. And we need to start fast out the gate, especially with this schedule. We need to take advantage of having the Giants as the first game and put them in the dirt and, smell blood and go for the kill early on the Giants. And we need Terry McLaurin certainly to do that. And you just want to get the chemistry with the quarterback. I mean, they already have good chemistry, but you want to just get it from the jump with Debo out there too. So, but all right, you guys. Still optimistic that they will get a deal done. Like I said, we've seen these negotiations happen before, but of course you do want to keep an eye open for possibilities. You just never know what can really happen. But like I said, Terry's a professional. Adam Peters is a professional. But they definitely need to make something happen. Like I said, let's do 3 years, $33 million. $99 million. We'll see how much is guaranteed, but I think that should definitely be a good deal for Terry Malone. All right, guys. Health Commanders. Peace.